Welcome to the Everyday Fitness and Wellbeing Podcast, where today I speak to the Banana Warrior Princess. We talk veganism, we talk the possibility of an ethical McDonald's, and much more. Hi Emma, thanks for taking the time to do this today. I've known you for a while and I've been following your progress as the vegan activist, vegan campaigner, but perhaps you can explain exactly what you do and who you are.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having me on your show. I'm delighted to be part of it. So a bit about me, I suppose. Is that what you want, like my background and how I came to veganism?
Yeah, as in, what is your title is?
The Banana Warrior Princess.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen Xena Warrior Princess.
Yes.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
So banana is the vegan bit of that.
Excellent.
It's quite catchy, yeah. Yeah, so it all started back in like 2013, really. I was working full-time shift in the police force as a custody detention officer in police cells, and I was also doing fitness instructing as well and personal training on the side of that. So I was working with another personal trainer in the gym, and who just happened to be vegan, and that sort of like opened up my mind to it for the first time, really. It sort of planted a seed.
And then what happened?
Yeah, then I sort of thought about it a bit more, really, because I thought to myself, well, he's an athlete, he's really fit, and he's vegan. How is this possible? Because I always thought, you need a certain amount of protein, and that protein has to come from animal products to get the amount of strength that you need, and calcium and whatnot, and all that, this kind of stuff. So at the beginning of 2014, I suppose, I don't know if you follow somebody by the name of Elliot Hulse. Do you know who he is?
Doesn't ring a bell, no. But
yeah, he's a YouTuber, but he's a weightlifter. He's got his own gym and he makes videos about that. And I was watching a lot of his videos. Okay. And I came across one of his videos about a vegan detox that he was doing for January, and it's something that he did every January, in fact, as just sort of like a detoxification, and that again opened my mind to it more and sort of led me on that pathway. And I thought to myself, do you know what, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do this vegan detox for January, because like January, after the Christmas, the New Year, you have a blowout, don't you? And
that's right.
Detox for January, everyone does it. So I thought I'd give it a go, and yeah, to be honest, I had so much more energy after even like a few days, within 2 or 3 days, I noticed a difference. I was eating a lot of like really clean foods, though, no junk food or anything. Right. So just plant-based, whole foods, cooked from scratch, everything, lots of fruits and vegetables, fresh fruits and vegetables. And then I got to thinking, well, if there's something in this, if it is really healthy for me, I want to try and sustain it if I can. Yeah. So I looked into the ethics of veganism, and what I discovered was like really shocking. Oh, right. So that kind of made me stay with it. And here I am today, 3 years later, basically. Oh.
Yeah. Now that's intriguing. There's a load of questions I want to ask you and dig into a little bit deeper. Let's first of all, this guy Elliot, what's his surname? Can you spell his surname? Hulse. Sorry,
Hulse.
Hulse. Okay, so I'll certainly check him out. And that was a detox for the whole of January. Very, very different. Normally you get the dry January, don't you? Sort of.
The dry January, you've got just normal diets, haven't you? And all kind of detoxing kind of things for January.
But this was taking it to another level, and you felt great afterwards.
Yeah, and then I since discovered that there is actually a vegan detox that you can do for January called Veganuary, like vegan January. You can go. There's a website, veganuary.com or co.uk, one of the two that you can go to if you want to sign up and pledge to do it for the month of January as a sort of trial kind of thing. So,
right, we're going to get Emma. Going to get back to more about you.
Get on track, yeah.
No. I want to just go slightly sideways and ask more about veganism. I personally, since moving south to, I didn't really notice it until over the last, as I was telling you before, the last, say, couple of years, really. I kind of think that it's increasing in popularity or Has it always been? I mean, okay, so 2013, you've changed your lifestyle. Yeah, would that be fair?
Yeah.
And would you say that the popularity has increased or is increasing?
Do you know what? Over this last 3 years, I've noticed a significant change in popularity with veganism. There's been an increase in vegans from 2016. So we're up to, they've done a survey to the Vegan Society, and it's 542,000 age 50 and over, this is.
Right.
And that's increased from 2006, which was 100,000.
Wow.
Which is, I think it's, I can't remember, I think it's something like 360% more or something.
Right.
Since 2006. So, yeah, that's the maths. Like, it certainly has increased. And I've noticed a lot more. It's definitely in Norwich, where I'm from, and you'll probably know from Brighton that it's just becoming just more normalised.
Right. Is this a worldwide trend? As a lot of trends affect certain demographics, so for example, whether it's YouTube or Instagram, inspiring a younger generation to take on. So I'm not alluding to whether it's a fad or whether it's a trend, but why is it increasing?
Yeah, I mean, I think there certainly is a certain degree of fashion or trend faddiness to veganism. I'm not going to just, I'm not going to say that there isn't. But I think with this, things like social media outlets, things like YouTube and Twitter and Facebook these days, people, it's a lot easier for people to get the information, and the information is just being shared a lot more these days. So this is part of the reason why it's becoming more popular, I believe. And you got a lot of vegan athletes now as well that are popularising it as well, and celebrities as well. So
sure.
Yeah. But yeah, also things like the sustainability and environmental impacts that veganism can help with as well. So you've got factory farming equates up to 18% of greenhouse gases compared with fossil fuels and transportation combined, which is 13%. So you can see how veganism can be more sustainable and environmentally friendly in that sort of respect too. Which I think a lot of people are getting on to that kind of side of things rather than the health.
I see. So it's not just about food choices.
Exactly.
Or animal cruelty. There's the bigger picture is galvanizing this sea of change, perhaps. So like-minded people like yourself, they're also thinking of the impact on the environment, as you say, and other issues. So that's perhaps increasingly in popularity, you'd say?
Yeah, exactly. I think so. All these three factors combined as well: ethics, sustainability, environmental reasons, and health. I mean, it's a trifecta. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can't get much better than that. So.
Sure, fair enough. Right. So you mentioned some vegan athletes, etc., and sportsmen, which traditionally, and I'm going to come out with just a couple of stereotypes about veganism, as no protein, they're going to be skinny and.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be in the same belief, that you couldn't get any protein, you could get enough protein and stuff like that on a vegan diet, but. You've got people like Patrick Verboomien, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a German strongman who's broken the world's log lift record for athletes weighing 105 kilograms and over, with a 190 kilogram lift. I don't know what that means, but it's pretty good, I think. Pretty good. And he's not skinny by any means.
Well, that's strongman for sure.
Yeah.
Who else is in the mix there then?
Yeah, you got Mac Danzig, who's a mixed martial artist, cage fighter. Scott Jurek, who's an ultra marathon runner, and people like Rich Roll as well. He's a lot of endurance people. Veganism has helped them with their performance. So, and even people like Carl Lewis. I don't know if you knew him back in the day.
I did hear. I didn't realize he's vegan, was he, or is?
Yeah, he was sort of to the end of his career, and certainly in retirement now.
Okay. If we scroll back to a little bit more about your journey then, and then also what you eat.
This is what the listeners want to hear, right?
and how you train. I take it you're still keeping fit?
Yeah, I definitely am. Yeah, I mean, to give you sort of like a summary of a typical day, maybe what I'd eat in a day. So I'd start out with breakfast, obviously. Typically, it'll be like a smoothie, predominantly more in the warmer months, and then in the winter months, more of a porridge kind of thing. So smoothie, lots of bananas, blueberries, soy milk. I smash in some flax seeds or some chia in there, or some hemp seeds for the omega-3s. Yeah. Same with the porridge. It's important to get your omega-3s in. So yeah, that's my breakfast. Lots and lots of water and herbal tea. So got to keep the hydration up. And then a lunch will be typically something like a salad or a wrap with hummus, avocado, or I might have something with, like beans and sweet potato wedges. Look, I love barbecue sauce. That's my thing. I love everything with barbecue sauce on. And nutritional yeast as well, which is like, I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's like an inactive yeast, which is contains a lot of B12, which is obviously important as well. Yeah. Sure. So for I do include some fortified foods in my diet as well. Okay. And I do take a B12 supplement, which I believe that everyone should do. If you're omni or vegan, I think you should definitely just, for safety basically, because it's, you can't really get it from the soil anymore when you're harvesting crops all the time. Sure. It's destructing the soil, because B12 is a bacteria. So good B12 supplement, which is a sublingual dropper under the tongue kind of thing.
Oh wow! Okay.
And good to go, and a good multivitamin. I was taking multivitamins before I became vegan as well, so it's not, I haven't changed. It's not that I've taken supplements after becoming vegan. I always was, just for backup. Yeah. Sure. And then dinner, typically, there's so many things, but my favourite at the moment is a lentil and bean sort of shepherd's pie.
Ooh, so that sounds delicious.
I like to put like the Heinz baked beans in there for a bit of extra flavour of the sauce as well, and barbecue sauce in there and all that kind of stuff. A barbecued pulled jackfruit. So if you heard it, like you get like pulled pork.
Yes, I've heard of jackfruit, and I've heard that. Dare I say it? I've heard that it tastes like pulled pork as well.
It's just the flavourings basically. I mean, if you think about it, like the flavourings that you associate with meat are plant-based. All the condiments and the spices and the herbs you put with it. That's what makes the flavour. So. Just anything like that, really. I get lots of protein, lots of carbs, the healthy kinds, from Whole Foods. Yeah. And my thing is trying to limit refined fats, so vegetable oils and all the bad stuff. Get the healthy fats from the healthy sources from the Whole Foods, like the avocados and that kind of thing.
Casting your mind back to when you first made that change to leading a vegan lifestyle and your food choices, so all of a sudden you're finding yourself not mind-numbingly going into the store and just picking up whatever food, filling up your basket with whatever. You're having to put some thought into your choices that are available in meat, but you just need to make that extra effort. And you're not going to get a jackfruit in your average supermarket here in the UK, but not even in Waitrose. But I think you can get some tin stuff.
Tins, that's what you use, yeah. Tins,
yeah. So that must have been quite a revelation for you, if you can.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there was certainly a lot more thought that went into my meals initially when I first went vegan. And I was a little bit concerned about, whether I was going to get my nutrients or not on a plant-based diet, which, naturally anyone would, because if you haven't done that lifestyle from the day that you were born, then you'd worry, because we're told that we need calcium for milk, we need protein for meat, and this, that, and the other. So I used an app called Chronometer or Chronometer. I don't know if you've heard of this.
No, not at all. Yeah, I'm learning a lot today.
Yeah.
Could you spell that as well, perhaps? What is it called? Chronometer or something?
Yeah, it's spelled Chronometer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll look that up.
So it's basically a macro. It's a bit like MyFitnessPal, the other.
Yeah, heard of that one.
Fitness app. Yeah, it's a bit like that, but it calculates all your macros, all your nutrients, and it shows you whether you're getting enough of them in the day. So I used that initially, and I was exceeding everything, even protein, micronutrients. I was getting an abundance of the micronutrients, obviously, because of all the fresh fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. So that kind of set my mind at rest, and then I knew that I don't need to worry about protein anymore or calcium or this, that, and the other. So just have fun experimenting with food and finding out all these new ingredients that I didn't really know before. Making something delicious out of plant-based foods is quite fun. You learn so much more about cooking as well, and different flavors and what goes together and stuff. So
excellent. And training? Do you still train the same? Do you still exercise the same, or? Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, nothing's really changed. If anything, what I've discovered is that I don't know whether this is subjective or not, because I haven't actually measured it, but I do feel that my recovery time is a lot shorter. So I'll recover quicker, whereas before it might take me a couple of days to recover from a strength training session. It might take me, it takes me less time. But, it's not that I don't get the DOMs, of course, but, recovery time is I feel is a lot shorter. And I don't know what I'd put that down to, whether it be, I really don't know.
That's fair enough.
But something in it, I think there might be something in the fact that it's less inflammatory, because meat and dairy has a certain inflammatory response on the body.
I have heard, about dairy particularly being inflammatory, but it'd be interesting to know how much of your recovery or the benefit is down to, let's say, increasing the plant base as opposed to omitting the meat base.
Oh, yeah.
Whether there's any research been done on that, do you know yet? Or is there any about to? Or is that something that...
I certainly think that there is. I mean, I think I would put it down personally to it's a mixture of both. It's not one or the other. It's both. There is a doctor called Dr. Michael Greger who's done a significant amount of research on plant-based diets. If you go to his website, nutritionfacts.org, or he's on YouTube as well, he basically takes all the research papers that he can possibly get hold of in his research team, trawls for it all, and relays it back to the viewer in a simple way that you can understand.
Okay.
So you can go to his website and find out all this kind of stuff, the research on why plant-based diets are good for you, and why meat and dairy might possibly be bad for you. But my personal opinion on it, I'm not saying that plant-based diets are superior to omnivorous diets. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but what certainly is the case is that there's no evidence to say that plant-based diets are not as healthy as omnivorous diets.
Right. Okay, so that leads me on to my next question, Emma, and I was checking out just dipping my toe into some of the science surrounding veganism and health and meats, etc., particularly from last year regarding meat consumption and all-cause mortality, believe it or not, as highlighted by a Dr. Rhonda Patrick, PhD. I don't know if you heard of her.
Yeah, I have.
And she can be found at @FoundMyFitness. Well, anyway, look, she gives a very detailed discussion and gets really into the nitty-gritty and into the complex kind of biochemistry of it all, etc. And she made a strong case for both sides of the debate, although more towards increasing a plant-based diet, etc. Look, I want to avoid, heavy debate now about meat versus non-meat, but my question is about someone like myself who's non-vegan, therefore a meat eater, aware of intensive farming methods, concerned or more disgusted by the cruelty, but wants to make a positive step. Okay, I want to make a positive step that is a double win. It may be selfish, it may be piecemeal, but wants to improve health and lessen or avoid cruelty.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's very hard for me to answer this question in the way that you'd like, but I'm going to try to. I mean, for me, personally, I take sort of like an abolitionist approach in the same way that, the Black Civil Rights movement did in the 50s and 60s, although I'm not advocating civil unrest or anything like that. But I can understand, sometimes people can't just make that switch overnight. It's very difficult when you're used to certain things. I mean, when you consider like the philosophy of veganism, which is fundamentally the principle of, not wanting to or reducing harm as much as possible and practicable for yourself, then There are a number of steps that you can take to do that. It's a question of really what you think is more important to you, your own personal convenience and your taste preferences, or somebody's life. Right. At the end of the day. But I mean, I do understand that, you know, for someone, it's not for everyone, and it's not something you can do overnight. So, I mean,
the reason why I paused you there is just that from the perspective of all or nothing, sometimes that approach can get people's backs up, can't it? They can, they can be like, right, that's it, no, or they can be just continue to be indifferent, whereas they might be, even though it's piecemeal, they might be tempted with just a small change. Oh, I can do that. Yeah. It may not be for the, well, who knows? It's everyone makes change differently. And I just wondered whether you condone it or not is another matter, but are there any small steps that are in the right direction, shall we say? Sure.
Yeah, and I understand where you're coming from totally. I would say, keep in mind that just because you can't do everything or be perfect all the time, try not to use that as an excuse to do something at the very least. So at the very least, try and open your eyes to how your animals are being slaughtered, and educate yourself on the process, and then perhaps take that, next time you go to the supermarket or go out for a meal, bear that in mind when you're making your food choices. If there is a vegan option on the menu, why not give it a try? Because you might not have tried it before, or might not have thought to, and you might not know that it's it could be delicious. Yeah, you might love it. So there is that, and and I mean, because all we see normally is the animal in the field, don't we? And then we see the meat or the bottle of milk, which is neatly, presented in the supermarket with clever buzzwords like free range, natural, organic, all that kind of stuff to make you buy it, right? Yeah. So all I'm asking, is just open your eyes up to the process. That middle part, that hidden thing that has been hidden from you, which is the process, how it's actually made, and educate yourself really. So,
are you saying scratch the surface a little deeper than just organic?
Yeah, that's right. Just open your eyes up to, for instance, I've interviewed a lot of people on the street for my channel, for my YouTube channel. I asked them questions about veganism and stuff like that in a non-confrontational way. I asked them sort of by using the Socratic method, if you're familiar with that. So sort of taking an epistemology approach to it by asking people, do you know about veganism? Do you know what vegan foods are? And do you know how expensive they are? Do you know where to get them from? And 9 times out of 10, people just have no idea. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So at the very least, just open your eyes up to it and research it a little bit. That's what I'd say. Sure. Another thing you could do is, if you don't want to do it for the rest of your life, because it's quite a big thing to commit to, isn't it? To think, I'm going to become a vegan. Just try it for a month. Because after as a personal trainer that it takes about 2 weeks, doesn't it, to form a habit and to get into the rhythm of things, and to stuff like checking labels can be quite tedious, but once you get used to it, and then after a month, if you don't like it, then just ditch it. So and a month is easier to commit to rather than a lifetime. So I would recommend that. Just try it for a month, see how you get on.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I think that's fair enough. Yeah. I expected you to be a lot stronger to bite my head off, but I think you've been very kind, actually.
Yeah, there is this misconception that vegans are militant and just, I don't know if I can swear on your show or not, I was going to say a-holes, but we're not all like that, I mean, I think the vegans that are like that, they sort of do a disservice to the rest of us, because they shout the loudest, right? Yeah, so yeah. It's
a tough one, because it's an important message, and the message of animal cruelty and farming methods that are disgusting. Obviously not all farms are like that, but those few, and factory farming, even the caged hens, they're allegedly free range now, but
who knows what free range actually means? When you actually start digging.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. Okay, now look, vegans, they're a large group, and I'm sure there's businesses looking to capitalise on your group. I mean, have you managed to cut through people trying to jump on the bandwagon and package things up just to sell you stuff for a profit?
Well, the thing is, my philosophy is, if it's making money, it's all good for veganism. Do you know what I mean? Even if it's, I would totally go to McDonald's if they sold a vegan burger tomorrow. Okay. I'm all for that, even though I hate McDonald's. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think, I don't mind whether they're trying to capitalise out of veganism or not. As long as I'm getting all the options available to me that are delicious, then I don't really mind. But there are some really, obviously it's better to go for ethical companies. Right. If you can, it's all about what you can do and how much money you've got. I'm not saying you have to only eat organic vegetables, because you might not be able to afford to, Sure. It's all about just living within your means and whatever is possible and practicable for yourself. So, but yeah, there are some good companies out there. I know it's not very holistic.
No. I just would have thought. Okay, hello. If we roll with that, McDonald's selling vegan burgers, and is the sort of thing that they could probably even try, but with their track record and their background, surely that would be eating in the house of the devil for a vegan.
It is, but it's a vegan option at the end of the day, isn't it? I think. And the thing is with these companies, I mean, I can name lots of places that I eat that are predominantly meat-based, like Nando's, for instance, is another one. But Nando's have actually got so much for vegans in there. And do you know what? They track everything that they sell, right? So if they see that there's a popularity growing in vegan foods, they're going to start producing more and more of them. Do you see what I'm saying? So, okay. And there is a company, an American company called Beyond Meat that now produce a kind of, it's not a lab-grown meat, it's a, you can't tell the difference between this. It's a plant-based meat, essentially, and you can't. It bleeds just like meat does.
Oh my goodness!
And there's a case for if McDonald's could sell that and it's cheaper, more sustainable than growing livestock.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Then McDonald's could actually one day be an ethical company, couldn't it?
In theory.
Yeah. In theory, yeah.
All right then.
But we've got to get there with capitalism at the end of the day.
For sure.
Because money makes the world go round in the Western world. So.
Yeah, we could talk for hours.
I know. There's so much to talk about. Yeah.
There is. I'm impressed actually. I've a bit of a respect for the vegan philosophy. More respect, having spoken to you. You haven't been a frothing at the mouth sort of
the stereotype.
The stereotype. You're being quite balanced and quite honest. But so look, finally, what's in store for you, Banana Warrior Princess?
Yeah, well, obviously, I'm just going to continue with my YouTube channel, asking people questions about veganism on the street, and I do a lot of response videos and things like that. Sort of debunking arguments that were refuting veganism and stuff like that. I do that mainly sort of as a way to help other vegans, really, to sort of clarify their argumentation when they, especially for new vegans, that they don't have a clue when people ask them questions about veganism. They just don't know. So, I want to help people like that. And I'm doing a lot of talks as well, so public speaking. I've actually got a talk coming up in Norwich, your old hometown, on the 20th of May for the Norwich Vegan Festival. So I'm doing a talk there on, as I said, 20th of May at 1:00. If any of your listeners want to pop down for that, and that's going to be at the St Andrew's Hall, I believe.
Oh, that's a big event. Excellent. Oh wow. Yeah. Is this the first vegan festival or?
No, it's actually the second for Norwich.
Okay.
Yeah, that started last year, and that's another thing. That's another indicator that it's becoming more popular. Vegan festival now. So.
Wow. So, public speaking, more with the YouTube channel, and how can folk get in contact with you? I guess through YouTube, but on Twitter, I presume. Yeah, I've got a Facebook page, just Banana Warrior Princess, so you can private message me there. Or there's my Twitter, which is @bdubprincess. Excellent.
So you can tweet me, or you can comment on one of my videos.
Subscribe to the video channel or the YouTube channel. Yeah,
share and subscribe.
Of course.
Do me a favour, hit that like button. That gets me more views, so that would help me. Yeah.
Excellent. So Emma, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time, and I wish you all the best. And good luck if the 20th if I'm up in Norwich on the 20th, I'll certainly make a beeline to hear you speak.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sean. It's been excellent. I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Brilliant. Take care. Bye-bye.